What's going on, Wolfpack? Welcome back to another episode of Market Watch Mondays. Today, you're going to just have me. We don't have any guests on today's show. I'm going to be covering a couple topics that I've been thinking through, and I feel like would be useful for those of you guys out there at this time of the year. You know, last week we had Angelo Fantasy on the pod, so if you guys haven't seen that, make sure you go back and check it out. As always, man, I'm your host, Mike Me Up, a.k.a. Mike, a.k.a. dude with bad hair today. So sorry about that if you guys are watching this now, but I was just lying in bed this morning. It's a Sunday morning. I was thinking about like what type of topics I want to discover, and I was just sitting there getting a little bit of writer's block, and then all of a sudden something popped in my mind. So before I forgot about it, I just had to hop out and come right here, which is why you're going to see the fucked up hair for today. But that's okay, because you're not here for my looks, because if you were, I would have no subscribers. You're not here for my hair. If you were, I would have probably negative subscribers, and someone would have reported me for being offensive on their screen. So what you are here for, though, is dynasty and dynasty knowledge. We're here to chop shop and hopefully get you guys set up for that W. Not for this year, well, hopefully for this year, but not just for this year. For next year, the year after that, the year after that. We are all about building dynasties here on the Bunkbed Breakdowns channel and also the Wolfpack Patreon. If you guys have not checked that out yet, patreon.com/ourpack, part of the BDGE family. And I always describe this as the fantasy nerd squad, you know, and it's amazing because we've had over 200 subscribers to the Wolfpack Patreon, those who are looking to dig deep into dynasty and just really get that strategy going, become a part of the community, join up in the Discord. I'm telling you, it's freaking bumping in there. And I just released my rankings as well for April. They come out at the beginning of every single month. Those of you guys getting the draft guide will be getting the NFL version of the ranks, and those of you guys who are in the Patreon, in the Discord, can also get access to the combined Devy ranks, fully tiered, fully broken down. The tiers actually translate and communicate across position groups to help you kind of work out those types of position for position trades. And there's a lot more stuff that goes into. I'm in there answering questions, you know, trade questions, start, sits, strategy questions, and also just a very, very bright community of other, you know, hardcore dynasty gamers. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you get in. Make sure you check out the BDG Patreon as well, which is going to be, you know, I'll have a lot of redraft stuff coming throughout the season, and also, you know, more fun approach to the dynasty aspect. But if you're looking to become a hardcore gamer, as always, please come check us out at the Wolfpack Patreon. Now, without further ado, before we get into the business, y'all know what time it is. Hit that intro. All right, so this week, you know, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, a lot has happened in the NFL, you know, between free agency and all the craziness. We'll talk a little bit about the first thing, which is Deshaun Watson. You know, a lot of people in the Patreon Discord have been asking me, like, what are you doing with Deshaun Watson? How has he moved outside of your ranks? And for those of you guys that haven't been following, he's basically have, like, you know, what, 20 women who have come out and sued him for some form of sexual assault, one or the other. At this point, it's kind of hard to deny that it's going to be bad no matter what, because people don't lie about this shit, you know? I mean, I'm sure some people do, but it's also really, really hard to, like, corral 20 people to lie about the same thing altogether. So, you know, this seems like one of those cases where if there's smoke, there's fire. I'm still going to just kind of, you know, hold back and reserve judgment and see what happens. But definitely, I'm not writing off any of the victims and or survivors, sorry, and what they're saying, because it's a freaking tough thing to do. So what are you doing now, though, with Deshaun Watson, right? That is the real question. You know, before all this mess, he was my locked-in dynasty QB2 in his own tier. It was Patrick Mahomes by himself, Deshaun Watson by himself, and then everyone else. Because in my eyes, that's how good of a quarterback Deshaun Watson is. So now with all this stuff, though, you have to really adjust your risk profile. And for me, I had him basically as a top 5 startup dynasty pick. Now, if you look at my Superflex rankings, which I just released to Patreon members, I have him basically going where the middle of the first round. So I have him ranked right beside my guy Ryan Tannehill, who I think is an underrated stud, right? And I have him behind both of the rookie quarterbacks, all of the stud rookie quarterbacks in Trevor Lawrence, obviously. I also have him behind Justin Fields now, obviously, because Justin Fields is a freaking baller. And Probably the ones that are more worth discussing is Trey Lance and Zach Wilson. So I have them behind both right now, and it's because I personally do not think this situation is going to get better between now and the draft, right? There's just going to be more and more news that comes out. There's going to be no resolution. This stuff takes forever. I think there's a really, really high chance that Deshaun Watson might go on the commissioner's exempt list. So if you go, those of you guys on contending teams are probably going to, I would start preparing to be without Watson. And luckily on the teams that I have Watson, I have a third quarterback or someone that I can start. Otherwise, I would be pretty screwed. But I think if you are on a contending roster, you need to make the moves now to kind of start thinking about, getting that replacement if you are a true contender. And if you're not, if you're a rebuilder, you cannot really trade away Watson right now. Because if you look at the offers that you're getting, like, I don't even think people are going to offer, where I have him ranked, where I think it's like reasonable. Because at that point, if you're giving up a later first round pick, which is kind of where I have him valued, right, the risk is worth the squeeze. Because, like, let's say he goes on the commissioner exempt list, right, and this thing does not go criminal, right, and he is allowed to play in the NFL. When he comes back, as sad as it is to say, an NFL team, whether it's the Texans or not, are going to give him a chance. And Deshaun Watson, when playing on the field, is an absolute stud. And he is a massive advantage. And when that happens, he's going to give you value, right? You're going to get 2-3x what you invested to trade for him by giving up that pick. So for me, I talk about it all the time, but it's always about asymmetric risk and reward, right? So that's what it comes down to here is, I feel like that's a cost that I'm willing to sacrifice and play around with if I am a rebuilding team that can afford it, to try and swing on that upside. And normally I don't take that many risks when it comes to rebuilding team. I'm really just looking for safety and value, right? But in instances like this where the upside is so high and the risk reward is very shifted and imbalanced towards the upside, that's when I'm willing to take a swing. And I think between now and the draft, you don't have to trade for him now. You can wait a little bit longer, because between now and the draft, his value is going to keep going down. My guess is there are going to be more and more women that come out, right? That's my guess. There's no way that all of them just came out within this like couple month period. I do think there will be more that come out, and it will get worse, and public perception will get worse, and the NFL will get forced to do something. And the more uncertainty there is, the more women that come out, the more his value will decline. And I think the first criminal case was charged, I think, last week. So it's going to get worse, man. One of my favorite quotes from The Dark Knight, man. The night is darkest as just before the dawn. So that's the situation I see with Deshaun Watson. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And I would not be surprised if people start giving him away for late first-round picks, early second-round picks come draft time, maybe add a little bit. I will not be surprised at all, because most people are pretty risk averse when it comes to fantasy football. Despite what the image that they portray on Twitter, I think they are more risk averse. So if you want to wait and take that shot, I'm personally waiting. I'm not going out and trying to acquire him right now. I'm going to wait a little bit, and if he does get to that price range and that really cheap, like late first, early second, at that point, you absolutely have to take the shot. Because the worst case scenario, you burn a late round first, you burn an early second, and yeah, it absolutely hurts, but it doesn't kill your team. But if you hit on that upside, it's going to be massive. And like, if I look back at my fantasy career, I've done this like many times, right? And sometimes it's worked out, sometimes it hadn't. And like when it worked out was with Tyreek Hill, right? When Tyreek Hill came out, and for what it's worth, I think this situation is probably a lot worse than that. But when Tyreek Hill first came out, everyone assumed that he was done. Everyone assumed that the NFL was going to ban him. He's never going to play another snap. And people were trading him away for like second-round picks, third-round picks. And, you know, when you have that type of value with a player that good who has dynasty wide receiver 1 overall upside, for those of you who remember, I had him ranked as my dynasty wide receiver 1 overall, I think dating back to last June. When he has that type of upside, you have to take a swing. Because those are the moves that can really, really change your outlook for the team, the dynasty that you've built, because those are impactful players, right? They can make a large difference on your team. So that's where I'm at with Deshaun Watson. And I think if you're in a contending squad, you cannot really trade for Deshaun Watson, because there's a high chance that he doesn't really play out the season. But if you're in a rebuilding squad, right, and you're not looking to win this year, obviously, and you're maybe not even looking to win next year or the year after, Deshaun Watson is still in his mid-20s. So if you can take that swing and he does come back and an NFL team does take him and he steps on the field, you're going to have a cornerstone to build your team around for a long, long time. So that's why you have to take that risk. And if I look at where I have him ranked again, I have him behind all of the rookie quarterbacks, so all 4 of them except for Mac Jones. And I basically have him where, Ryan Tannehill and Aaron Rodgers is, and like around where the wide receivers are. And I think, that's where I have him, because that's like the point where I would be somewhat okay with pivoting off of him if I'm in a contending team, and I would be fine with paying that in a rebuilding team to try and land him, even though I prefer to wait and you don't have to. So if you think about it in that like 1.08 range, basically, if you think about it that way, that's kind of where, if you can get him for below that, I would definitely start to strongly consider that. All right. But if you can't hold, I think, there are lots of those out there like me that do have Watson on a lot of the rosters. If you guys remember, I was big up on Deshaun Watson as a quarterback last season, so I have him on a lot of my contending dynasty teams. So it's a lot of pain for me, but this is kind of how I'm going to approach it. I'm going to take a look at those teams. If I'm a contender, if you can get equivalent value at quarterback, you can consider it. Otherwise, if you have a third quarterback like I do on most of my teams, you just have to hold and ride it out. It is not a market to dump Deshaun Watson right now. And I understand he can go lower. Like I said, I think he will go lower. And I understand his value could potentially go to 0, right? That is a realistic probability that he may, basically, we have another Bill Cosby. He just gets banned from life, and he just gets banned from society. And that wouldn't even be the out of left field, given if all they say that he's doing is actually true. Like, that's some pretty scumbag shit. So there's that possibility. And I am someone who is more susceptible to like taking on risks and making those types of home run plays when they're presented. So really just got to assess your own risk profile, just like when it comes to investing in the real world. Assess your own risk profile and make a decision that way. But that is how I'm dealing with Deshaun Watson this year. All right, so on to more exciting things. So the rookie quarterback. So there's a lot of discussion around rookie quarterbacks. Now there's hype about Mac Jones going to San Francisco at 3rd overall because they skipped Justin Fields' pro day to go to Mac Jones' pro day. A lot of noise out there on the streets. Personally, I'm fading most of that, if not all of it, because it doesn't mean anything, right? Like going to a guy's pro day doesn't mean anything. If you guys don't think the NFL teams can get access to these guys, whenever they want, like, I don't know what to tell you. But I think when it came to Mac Jones, I think that was like the Alabama's 2nd pro day, so they had to go check him out in order to see him, and they have another opportunity to meet with Justin Fields later. So I wouldn't read too much into those tea leaves. Like, they don't really mean much to me at all. What's going to do the speaking is on draft day, and as we know in history, like, nobody fucking knows jack shit about what's going to happen on draft day. All these NFL insiders, all these media, all these clowns that are out there talking shit about everyone they can, they don't know anything. So I would not be making many big decisions based on what the rumor mill says at this time of the year. Everyone is trying to sell clicks, man. Every single person is trying to sell clicks. Every person is trying to be first, and it's just tilting to see, because like nobody in sports journalism, like other than the select upper echelon, like takes that shit seriously anymore. They're just trying to like be first and say whatever comes to their mind without thinking, without vetting. Like, look at what happened with Dan Orlovsky, who went on air, and look, I get it. People are like, wow, Dan just said what other people told him. If you're in a position that like he is, that has reached the millions and millions of people, being on a massive platform that he is, like, think before speaking, right? Like, just because some idiots in the NFL team told you that Justin Fields has poor work ethic doesn't mean you have to transfer that onto the rest of the population and now have that out there, have this stigma against a freaking stud in Justin Fields, who's basically just a kid trying to play out his dream, man. I think it's disgusting what we've seen in the sports media. I'm not paying any attention to it personally. Justin Fields, to me, is still a stud. He has an incredible work ethic. We saw him get blasted in his ribs in the game against Clemson, come back and throw for 6 touchdowns. I mean, there's nothing that he's shown that has any valid criticism regarding his work ethic. So, to me, I'm personally fading all the noise during this draft season and just kind of sticking to my rankings. I'm going to be drafting Justin Fields everywhere at value, hopefully, because everyone has been basically, dismissing him. Big stream media guys, have him in like the 3rd, 4th round of mock drafts, which doesn't make any sense to me. Look, it doesn't make sense to me at all. It's a poor stigma that we've had against a lot of these quarterbacks. But for me, I'm sticking. I think it's a pretty deep and good quarterback class. So, whoever you get out of the Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, even Trey Lance, I think has a high potential to kind of become a good long-term starter for you. I would not be paying too much attention to the noise. Like, this is the season where you have to really fade the noise, and we're not even in peak noise season yet, right? Like, we're not even a week before the draft. The week before the draft, like, you're going to see crazy shit come out from all over the place. You're going to see a bunch of stereotypes slapped on guys like Justin Fields. And for me, I'm holding strong. Really just stick to, the sources that actually have any, like, credibility. Adam Schefter, the GOAT, obviously. Stick to sources like that to see, if there's anything that's actually worth paying attention to. But for the most part, it's not. Look, Justin Fields is a stud. And any way you cut it, like, there's a lot of narratives about how he can't go off his first read. I think Todd McShay said, like, they charted, like, 2,200 plays and only 7 of them were to his second read. I think everything I've seen that's false. Like, I think in the college playoffs alone, he had more than that. So a lot of that is bogus. And at the end of the day, like, he has a 70% completion record, right? Like, if your first read is open, why the hell would you move off to your second or third read? That makes absolutely no fucking sense. And when he can, he has. And if you look at Justin Fields by the numbers, he's incredible, right? Like, he has, in 2020, he had 65% of his air yards as a percentage of total yards. So he had 2,100 total yards, and 1,365 of those were air yards. For perspective, Trevor Lawrence, of his 3,153 yards, only 40% of that was through the air. Mac Jones, only 46% of his was through the air. And Zach Wilson was the closest at about 59%. So what that tells you is the shit about Justin Fields not being a top-end passer is fucking bogus, because this guy's passing it down the field deep and often. And you don't do that by being just a single read quarterback. So I think a lot of that is kind of just bogus. I mean, we got to fade the narratives at this point in the season. It's just getting ridiculous. But let's see what happens in the draft. Really, now that the pro days is done, Justin Fields obviously lit up his pro day as well, ran a 4.4 at 228 pounds. This guy is the second coming of Cam Newton, man. I'm sorry, guys. I just cannot understand all of the slander that is being thrown his way. This is a top-end prospect. Can he bust? Absolutely. A lot of quarterbacks bust, right? That's the name of the game. But his upside is great. And as a prospect, he really doesn't have that many holes in his game from a numbers perspective. Now, film grinders, do what you may. But from a numbers perspective, from my perspective, if he gets the draft capital, man, it's going to be wheels up, all right? So fade the narrative, focus on the numbers, focus on the right signals to get you to where you are. And I promise you, none of those signals are happening on Twitter right now. All right, so the main topic I want to talk about is a couple of things. One is the dynasty life cycle. I get a lot of trade questions in the Patreon and on Twitter during this time of the year. What should I be giving up to land a rookie pick? What should I be, what are players that should be getting offered right now? And I think, one thing that I want to talk about to kind of cover all of that is like the dynasty life cycle and when to trade certain types of assets in dynasty. Right now is the single worst time to try and trade for 2021 rookie picks. So over the next couple months, trying to trade for rookie picks is not very ideal, because their value is going to hit all-time highs. And as draft hype comes along, like I always say, it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're the most experienced dynasty OG ever, or you're a newcomer, or you're an analyst, or what have you. Every single person succumbs to rookie draft fever. It is undeniable. It happens to me too, right? And I have to force myself to overcome that to trade later on. But right now, you do not want to be trading veterans for rookie picks. It is the worst time to do that. Even if you are on a rebuilding team, you do not need to get out right now. You can wait till in the season after a couple weeks of production and people realize hey, not all rookies get on the field and are Justin Jefferson, and they start losing that patience. That's when you should be trading your veterans. So the opposite is true right now when it comes to trading away your rookie picks. I don't think you have to trade rookie picks right now because, typically we have the combine, right? And the combine would be this massive value bump to all rookie picks. We didn't really have that this year because pro days were scrambled throughout everywhere. You had one pro day here, one pro day there. Some schools had 2 pro days. Trying to gather data is incredibly accurate. Some guys tweeting the range for 40 times for someone can go from 4.3 to 4.5, right? So a ton of inaccurate information out there, and we didn't have that singular event to bring everything together. So we didn't see that same value bump that we normally would with rookie picks, right? So that's one thing. So I think if you have rookie picks, I would just wait until the NFL draft, right? Wait until at least that week before the NFL draft. When the draft coverage starts, people start projecting landing spots on mainstream media. Mel Kiper starts getting on air talking his bullshit. Todd McShay starts getting on the air talking his bullshit, right? That's the time where hype is going to become at the all-time high. You're going to see Hall of Fame comps across the board for Trevor Lawrence. All these running backs are coming out, wide receivers. You're going to see Marvin Harrison comps to Devonta Smith. You're going to see crazy comps to everyone involved, and that's when hype's going to get really high. So that's the time where you're going to be looking to trade off for rookie picks, right? So now, between now and then, right, and after then is when you can use those rookie picks to trade for veterans. Because like I said, because veterans are undervalued, then the opposite must be true, right? That means rookie picks can be overvalued during the time of the draft. And I'm someone that accumulates rookie picks. I love rookie picks. I always talk about accumulating rookie picks. They're the most undervalued asset in Dynasty. But when you look at it with respect to the Dynasty life cycle and timing, the time they are overvalued is typically, around the rookie draft, the NFL rookie draft. So that's the type of cycle that you should be working around. Do not rush to dump off veterans for rookie picks right now. You're not going to get the value that you are seeking. And, if anything, like I always say, after I've accumulated a bunch of rookie picks, I rarely, if ever at all, use all of those rookie picks on drafting rookies. And the reason why is because you can always get a lot of value for veterans if you're looking to build a contending team. If you're looking to flip that rebuild that you've been building into a contender and you've been accumulating all those rookie picks, that's the best time to capitalize on some veterans. To give you some examples, like last year, I had like top four rookie picks in Superflux, and I flipped a lot of them. I flipped some of them for, Alvin Kamara to kind of flip my team into contender. I flipped one of them for Joe Mixon. And my team went from like no running backs to like 4-star running backs within 1 year. So those are the types of moves you can make. But the number one mistake I see people doing is, they look to a rebuild like, oh my God, I got to get off my veteran assets now. I would just say, just hold your horses. Do not rush to do that. Try and wait till in the season you can get future rookie picks. Do not trade for 2021 rookie picks right now. All right. But there's an interesting dichotomy where when you look at startup drafts versus rookie drafts and trade value, there's always like a disparity there. And the reason why, my theory for the reason why is because like in the startup draft, like everyone thinks their team is a winner, right? So people value stuff like very similarly. But once you get out of that mindset, you have rebuilders, you have contenders. People are looking for different things. There's a bunch of different factors at play. So the trade market is always very disparate. And even the rookie draft market is disparate from the startup draft. So if you're looking to get access to 21 rookies, what you should be doing is drafting them in startup drafts, because that's where they're undervalued. Because people in startup drafts are like I said, they're looking to win, right? They're looking to become contenders. And what that means is some of them are not really willing to take that risk on rookies because they're like, he's like unproven. I'm not sure what team he's going to land on, especially if you're drafted before the NFL draft, right? There's a lot of uncertainty around landing spots. People are unsure. So unless you really dig deep and really understand the prospects, you're not going to be as comfortable drafting someone like a Jalen Waddle, over a more proven asset in the NFL. So that's where you can kind of take advantage of the arbitrage. So if you have teams that are in its second and third year, right, I would put it in a portfolio perspective, right? Let's say you have like 10 teams or so, or you're like me, you have like 20 teams, right? For teams that are, contenders that are in their second or third years, right? And you have rookie picks, rookie round first. In those types of situations, I would wait till the rookie draft, and I'd be looking to trade those rookie picks for proven veterans, right? And then to replenish your rookie stock, what I'd be doing is if you're joining new leagues, that's when I'd be drafting rookie picks. So there's a couple of different ways to set that up. One, you can just have a combined draft with all the rookie players and all the veterans. The way I like to do it is to draft rookie picks instead of drafting rookie players. So for example, instead of drafting Trevor Lawrence, you would draft the 1.01 rookie pick. So if you're using like Sleeper, for example, you could just allow kickers, right? Kickers would be that placeholder of the draft. And then what happens is you hold that pick until after the draft. And once after the draft happens and you know where the players are landing, that's when you hold your rookie draft. So that kind of removes that uncertainty of like, oh, what if I draft this player, he doesn't get draft capital? It removes that. But what it does do, it allows you to capitalize on the increasing rookie value between now and after the NFL draft. So that's my favorite way to draft, is to draft rookie picks in the startup combined pool. The worst way you can do it, I've said this before, the worst way you can do it is to have separate rookie and veteran drafts and have the rookie draft order be the inverse of the veteran draft. That is the dumbest way to play Dynasty. If I see a league like that, immediately just turn around and leave, because what happens there is whoever lucks in to the 1.12 in the startup draft gets a free first round pick in Trevor Lawrence. That's what happens. So it's a huge advantage to pick from the back part of the draft in those situations. And it's like basically it's almost like an irreversible error, because those people get a free edge out of nowhere just by luck of the draw. So don't play that way. Make the pool all of the rookie assets and all of the veteran players, and let people choose how they want to build their teams. And when given the choice, to me, the best thing to do is to accumulate a lot of early rookie picks, and even those second and third round rookie picks, which tend to go really, really late, because people can't like the top 5 picks, top 12 picks, top 10 picks, people probably have a good sense of what those rookies are, right? But once you get into like the second round, the later second round, mid to late second, and early third, people have a hard time attaching names to those players. But trust me when I say this, if you draft those picks, those will increase in value come the rookie draft. You might be able to flip that second round pick for a future first because people will be like, holy crap, the guy I really liked, who I thought would be a first round pick, fell to a second round. And that's the flexibility that you have in your draft if you do a startup draft and you load up on those rookie picks. So in all other instances, I'm between like around now and draft time, I am a seller of rookie draft picks. The only time I'm really going in is if I'm doing a startup draft, especially before the NFL draft itself. I'm going to be loading up on rookie picks in the draft. And it's because, like I said, I'm always down to do the productive struggle. I'm always valuing flexibility, and I'm always valuing value when it comes to startup drafts. So that's the way to take advantage of that difference and that arbitrage. You know, I call it arbitrage because I think it's like free risk, because if you manage a full portfolio, you can trade away rookie picks, right, at a high value, and then you can replenish them right now with lower ascending value over the next couple of months. So that's the main topic I wanted to cover, and I think it's really relevant now because of the timing we're in, right? We're now in that perfect time where I'm seeing a lot of startups go up. For those of you that are new to Dynasty, I'm sure you're hopping into new Dynasty leagues. So take advantage in those new Dynasty leagues and draft those rookie picks. And then in your other teams, just hold those rookie picks until after the NFL draft. And when you're in your rookie drafts, especially if you're a contending team, try and trade for contending players. So, you know, I want to go through maybe a couple of examples of guys you can go for, specifically at the wide receiver position. Running back is a little bit tough, right? Because it's not going to be easy to draft or trade for a stud, rookie, and young running backs with even with rookie picks. But wide receiver, I think, is where you can get a lot of value. So, you know, I think if you're playing around with that like middling to late first, you know, middling first, guys I would be going after are someone like a Courtland Sutton, Terry McLaurin. You know, instead of drafting one of these rookie wide receivers, unless it's Jamar Chase, I think those are kind of like better plays to go for. And then I think even cheaper on the cheaper end and probably more attainable, because they're falling a little bit out of favor, is someone like a Cooper Kupp and Jerry Jeudy. So these are two players that I think I'm going to be going heavily in on contending teams where I have later rookie picks. Because, you know, the Jerry Jeudy hate has kind of swung way too much against him. You know, I wasn't a big Jerry Jeudy stan coming in as rookie. I thought his hype was way too much, and I thought other prospects like Lamb and Jefferson and even Rager, rest in peace, were better than him. I guess also T. Higgins, so 3 or 4 isn't bad. But I think, you know, when it comes to the hate there, it's really like Drew Lock, man. Drew Lock is awful. So I don't know why people are still trying to pump that Drew Lock train, because he has shown nothing to us that he is deserving at an NFL quarterback. And I have a strong suspicion that the Broncos are probably going to try and address that position. They're kind of in a spot in that middling first where they can kind of maybe try and move up, make a big move, and try and take a shot on one of these guys. But either way, like Drew Lock is not going to be there. If he's there this year, he probably won't be there next year. And if he is there after this year, then hopefully he would have like righted the ship in a big way like Josh Allen, right? So I'm kind of very much targeting the weapons on that offense. I already mentioned Courtland Sutton, who I think is an absolute alpha. And I think for sure he's better than Jerry Jeudy, but that doesn't mean Jerry Jeudy is a bum either, right? He had a ton of targets his rookie year. Wasn't really efficient with them yet, and he had a ton of drops. But I think those are things that I don't really care about that much. I don't really care about drops, right? Like Amari Cooper struggled with drops early on in his career as well, and I don't see why Jerry Jeudy can't have like an Amari Cooper light type of production going forward. So instead of swinging on some of these more risky wide receivers in this class that honestly, like after Jamar Chase and Rashad Bateman, a lot of them have a lot of question marks. So instead of swinging on Devonta Smith, I think I'd rather take a swing on Jerry Jeudy. You know, kind of has an established position in that offense. He's going to be the 1B to Courtland Sutton. He's going to get a lot of higher quality targets, probably running out of the slot. So I'm very interested in Jerry Jeudy as an acquire low, you know, trying to target him in a lot of my leagues. Still haven't had much luck yet, but I'm going to keep firing, especially when it comes to draft time, when I'm sitting on the clock there with the 1.10, 1.11, 1.12, and all the quarterbacks are gone, all the running backs are gone, and I'm trying to choose between the wide receivers. I'm absolutely going to be looking to pivot off and get into a Jerry Jeudy or even a Cooper Kupp if I'm on a contending team. Jerry Jeudy's a little bit more flexible because he's only, 22 years old. Cooper Kupp's a little bit older, but if you're a contending team, getting Matthew Stafford is a big deal. And here's why I like Cooper Kupp, right? Most slot receivers don't really have as the upside that Cooper Kupp presents, because we've seen Cooper Kupp be an absolute TD monster. He is a beast in the red zone, right? He was Goff's favorite target, and I have no doubts that Matthew Stafford is going to rely on him in the end zone as well, because Robert Woods is not a TD guy. Robert Woods is very versatile. You can use him in the run game in the red zone, but he's not someone you're going to be throwing up to for one-on-one jump balls, and he's not someone you're going to be throwing up basically on the inside either. So Cooper Kupp to me is the best TD threat, and he always has been on the Rams, and he also can go deep, right? We've seen him have a decent ADOT, and we've seen him play, have massive deep plays as well in terms of how McVay uses him. So he's an interesting slot receiver that kind of presents really good upside, and he's had above 20, I think he's 23% target share both in back-to-back years. So Cooper Kupp is someone that I'm super interested in as a contending team, and if I'm looking for that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 to really fill out my squad, I think Cooper Kupp is a great target. I think both of these guys, they're currently being valued in that mid to late wide receiver 3 range based on current ADPs, and that's kind of where you can get them for a first-round pick. So I'd be looking to pivot off of a lot of these wide receivers in the rookie class to see if I can take a shot on a couple of them. And then later on in the draft, maybe in the second round, right, or another late first, I think someone else you could be looking to get is Deebo Samuel and Tyler Lockett. Again, just two value guys. Deebo Samuel a little bit younger. He entered into the league a little bit older too. He's not as young as Jerry Jeudy, but I think people have written off Deebo Samuel because of Brandon Ayuk, and I love Brandon Ayuk, right? I love Brandon Ayuk. I love George Kittle. I have Brandon Ayuk ranked, my top 15 of wide receivers, but we also have to recognize that Deebo Samuel was balling out before Brandon Ayuk got there, and the question with him comes down to health. We haven't seen him healthy, right? And is he injury prone? Is he not? Who knows? But there's a range of outcomes here where Deebo Samuel and Ayuk and George Kittle can all produce, especially if they take someone like a Justin Fields in the draft, who I think would be a big upgrade to Jimmy G. So Deebo Samuel is someone where I'd be looking to flip a rookie second round pick for him, right? Once you get into that middling second round pick, or maybe even in the early second, I think you can flip an early second for Deebo Samuel plus a third. I think that could be a deal that can get done, because people have really soured a little bit on Deebo Samuel based on where he's going in drafts. And then Tyler Lockett, obviously completely overshadowed by DK Metcalf, but has always been a value. I mean, the Tyler Lockett to Russell Wilson connection, in my opinion, is actually, no, it's not even opinion, it's fact, is the most efficient connection in the NFL, and it's one of the most effective. So, but in my opinion, Tyler Lockett is also a really underrated wide receiver. And, a lot of people have written both of them off because oh my God, Seattle's going to be run heavy again, whatever. But if we look at the moves they made, they brought on the Rams passing coordinator. I think we're going to see a bit more passing than we expect. We might see Russ cooking a little bit more. Even though DK Metcalf is by far and away, to me, the wide receiver 1 there, that doesn't mean Tyler Lockett will not produce. And people hate on Tyler Lockett because he's a boom bust wide receiver. Listen, if you're relying on wide receiver stability, you got to reevaluate your approach, because outside of Devontae Adams, man, there's no wide receiver that is really that consistent, right? So when I look at wide receivers, I'm looking for those boom weeks. I'm looking for guys that can single-handedly win me a week. And the reason why I'm looking for it is because Tyler Lockett is not like my wide receiver 1, right? I have other wide receivers, but he'll be your wide receiver 3, potentially even wide receiver 4 flex spot. So if you're looking at a flex spot and you're looking for a floor, man, you're a fucking coward. You gotta adjust your game, because in those flex spots, you're looking for guys like Tyler Lockett that can single-handedly win you the week with a 40-point burger, right? And that's exactly what he does. Does he bust? Yeah, sure, but so does every other wide receiver. It's just more about trying to get you the ceiling win weeks, because that's what makes the difference, right? People think fantasy weekly matchups come down to 1 or 2 points and it's really close. That's not really the case. Most weeks are blowouts. Most weeks that you play in fantasy football, if you go back on your league, you're going to remember the really close ones. But for the most part, they're blowouts. You're talking 20, 30-point blowouts. So you need those wide receivers that really swing you in that momentum and kind of give you that type of edge. So Deebo Samuel and Tyler Lockett are guys I'd be looking to target in that second round pick range. And trust me, after you saw what Elijah Moore did, after he totally blew up in his pro day, I love Elijah Moore, right? But if I'm a contending team, I would absolutely consider giving up an Elijah Moore to maybe land like a Tyler Lockett, who also got a big contract extension. So he's tied to Russell Wilson for the long haul. So those are a couple of moves. Will Fuller's another one I think that I'm looking to grab probably in the second round. He joined Miami Dolphins. I'm thinking that Miami might take a shot on a Jamar Chase if he's still there. But those two would go together really well. I mean, Will Fuller kind of gives them that deep threat that they did not have. They did not have anyone to kind of threaten the field vertically. You might say Kenny Stills, but he's not really that good of a wide receiver. And Will Fuller can also provide alpha value. We kind of saw what he did last year. He adjusted his game to be able to work the short to intermediate as well. So to me, I think those are the types of guys that I'd be looking to go for in those late first to, early to mid second range. If I'm a contending team, trying to build out the depth at my wide receiver position, trying to get that like wide receiver 3 or later filled out. I think those are the types of moves you need to make and really, really capitalize on rookie fever. And it wouldn't even surprise me at all if come draft time, after the NFL draft, when you're in your rookie draft, you're sitting there at 1.11, 1.12, someone would be willing to give you Tyler Lockett plus to land that pick. Someone will be willing to give you like a Jerry Jeudy plus a bit, maybe even, because of how much things have soured, especially if the Broncos don't draft a quarterback. If the Broncos draft a quarterback, I think that opportunity is going to be gone. So out of all these guys, I think the one player I'm trying to make a move for right now, even using rookie picks, is probably a Jerry Jeudy, just in case that happens, because I think right now you're kind of going to get him at his 4 valuation. And, contrary to popular belief, I do think Jerry Jeudy is still a good player. He's not like generational like people thought, but I think he is a really good player, and he's getting unfairly knocked right now just because of how awful his quarterback play was. Like, it cannot be stressed how awful it was. Like, we look at his completion percentage and it's low, but like, most of those targets are not deemed catchable. So it's just a really, really bad situation. But, talent stays, situation changes. And there's none more true than the wide receiver position, which is why I focus on these types of situations for guys like Courtland Sutton, guys like Noah Fant, guys like Jerry Jeudy, where they're completely being nerfed by their quarterback play. But I believe they're very talented players, and when that situation changes, you're going to get a massive, massive uptick on value. Kind of like, what we saw with A.J. Brown. Everyone's worried about A.J. Brown, but the talent was there. All he needed was the prince himself, Ryan Tannehill, to step in and unlock him. So, all right, so that's kind of all I have to cover today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, found it useful, apply it to your drafts. If you guys have questions, as always, please feel free to drop in the comments. Tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like. I'll try and adjust. Hopefully the mic volume was good. I try to really focus my mouth on the mic today so that we didn't get any of the low volume issues that we got last week. Follow me on Twitter at MikeMeUp with 2 P's. I'm always on there engaging with folks. My DMs are open. I'm a little bit slower addressing them these days because I'm trying to focus on Patreon and trying to get the questions answered in there and engaging with folks. But I do still address DMs when I can. So just stay patient with me on there, and I will try my best to get to you. And as always, really appreciate all the support you guys have given me on the channel, have given the brand, BDG folks, across the board. We appreciate y'all. As always, we're working hard in the background on the guide, which will be coming to you soon. So make sure you stay on the lookout for that. Check out we're going to have a brand new spanking BDG website. It's going to have all the pickings, the merch, the sexy merch that people have been modeling out on the shows all the time. It's going to have all that. It's going to have the guide. It's going to have the BDG pitch on there. So just be on the lookout for that as well. And then, for those of you, like I said, that are really looking to get deep and become dynasty nerds, so to speak, shout out to the boys at Dynasty Nerds. Sorry, I didn't mean to rip off the name there. But if you want to become really nerdy with the game and just try and understand and peel back all the layers and take your game to that next level and become like a full-time dynasty fiend, which is basically what I am, and join a community of very like-minded people and kind of talk trades, talk strategy. We're giving feedback on teams and all that stuff. Make sure you check out the Wolfpack Patreon. I promise you the bang is worth the buck. Everyone in there is having a blast. I'm having a great time theory crafting with people in there, and just a lot of nice folks. There's no toxicity in there. I don't allow it. It's not like Twitter. People discuss and they go at it when it comes to discussions and debates, but none of it is coming from like a toxic nature. That's what I think I'm really thankful for in terms of the people that have joined and kind of like, really subscribe to that mantra. But it's a great time in there. It's a great learning process for me and everyone involved. If you guys are interested, make sure you check it out. I promise you will not regret it. Patreon.com/OurPack. It's going to be my sole purpose to make this thing the best community, the most knowledgeable, and also the most helpful when it comes to Dynasty that it can be. All right, so that's what I'm working towards. Hopefully you guys will join me, and if it's not for you, all good. Just keep supporting me on the channel. Appreciate you as always. That's all I got for you this week. I'm out.